Alright, hello everyone, back to my Eruption of Shame. Today with June's Humble Bundle choice for 2023. Now, there was a fairly substantial leak for this month, so some you may have heard of these games before. However, it's not all as it seems. Unfortunately, the game Serial Cleaners, for example, one that I was actually kind of looking forward to, is not there. That's why obviously we don't make videos based on leaks. But we've got two games that I haven't seen before, so unless it's different for Australia, which no, I can confirm it's everywhere. Everywhere has not got Serial Cleaners, so it's not just me. So yes, here we go. We've got a bunch of games up here. Obviously, the headliner is Ghostwire Tokyo. So unless you've recently bought this, that's a fairly expensive pickup, if nothing else, right? Now, I know this game is a quote-unquote horror game. However, it's also made by Bethesda. I'm not sure how I feel about this as a pickup, but realistically, it's definitely a good game if you weren't going to buy it anyway. So it's fairly positively rated. It's by Bethesda, or published by them at least. So, I mean, it's a pretty good pickup, really, if you don't already own it. Which, hopefully you don't. So, yay. Remnant, on the other hand, I don't know too much about. I think I remember it coming out a while back. Yeah, just DLC. And it even has, the, oh wow, yeah, it even has DLC. Yeah, it does say complete edition. So, another very solid pickup and another very expensive game as well. Also, still looks kind of horror-y, but that's okay. That's okay. Oof. Okay, that's kind of spooky. Okay, that one's definitely a good pickup, but I'm also a little bit apprehensive about this. You'd think this was the horror month, but no, it isn't yet to be October. Now, Curse of the Dead Gods, this one I know a little bit more about. Not that I've actually played it too much, but it's a sort of game which I think it's a nice one to add in. It's an action sort of. I think it's a roguelike. I haven't actually played too much of this either, or actually any of it. I think it's on my mountain, but I've definitely seen it pop up multiple times. So realistically, this one, when it comes to me personally, I am okay with it. I don't remember if I already own it though, so that's one thing which may I think I actually do own it. I do own it. But it's always good to have a nice roguelike in the bundle. So I think that's still a good pickup. Even if I already own it, it'll be a good gift to someone on my friends list. So yeah. Now this is one that was actually on my wish list. As far as I understand, it's made by the Prison Architect people, and essentially, Honey, I Joined a Cult is Prison Architect, but instead of being a prison, it's a cult, which, quite frankly, sounds pretty good. Should be said, while it does look similar to something like a theme hospital or a theme park, usually these sort of simulator games are a little bit more on the management side of things. And you'll find that they're a little bit harder than those games used to be. That being said, I haven't played Honey, I Joined a Cult, so it's possible it's slightly different. But usually its focus is more on the keeping your prison, or in this case cult, I suppose, running versus, just happy-go-lucky. So, yeah, not a bad pickup. Was on my wish list, so that's good. Now, this is the one that got added, and I have no idea what it is. Because I don't think I've heard of it before. I don't even know if I own it. You might be like, wait, what? Yeah, well, welcome. Eternal. I do actually already own Eternal Threads. I've apparently owned it since February. That's a bit of a shame. Wonder if it was in a Humble Bundle. Anyway, not a Humble Bundle. Wouldn't be in a Humble Bundle. If it was in a Fanatical Bundle, sorry. So realistically, adventure game, different choices, going through on basically one of those story-driven sort of things, similar to a PlayStation story-based game like a Beyond Two Souls or whatever it's called. So yeah, also looks kind of horror too. They're really doubling down on the... Okay, that definitely looks horror to me. Oh, I'm not a fan of the horror elements. No, 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 no. Why did I buy this game? I'm gonna assume it was definitely in a bundle somewhere. Ooh. No. Okay, so that's a game not only do I own, but it's also scary. So fair enough. But I mean, once again, it does look okay. And granted, unless you have already seen this sort of game before, you're probably in a position where you're like, I can eat. So yeah, not as good as Serial Cleaners, I don't think. Like Serial Cleaners sounded like a much better addition to this bundle. Now then we got Grime. Now this one was another one that was included as a leaked game. Grime is an action indie RPG with a fairly interesting, almost clay-like art style. So nothing too wrong with this one. It sort of feels like a bit of a Metroidvania Souls-like. So it's a little bit difficult, but let's be honest, a lot of these sort of games are often given out in a humble bundle. And given the price and the rating, I'd say this is probably classed as a good pickup for most people. So that's nice too. Now we've got Turbo Golf Racing. It was a little bit of a, shall we say, wild card in the leak, but it did come through and is in the leak. It's a little bit cheaper than the rest of them, but realistically, it's still seems pretty okay, I guess. It is a racing game where you play with toy cars. Okay, fair enough. To hit golf balls around, huh? Okay. So basically, you're not only trying to drive down a track, but you're also trying to control the golf ball. That sounds like it's going to be quite difficult. So, not necessarily a game I love, but it's okay. Now, this is the other one that just was added randomly. Now, this is odd. It's mixed. It's mixed and it's cheap. I feel like this might be a last minute swap out on their behalf. Maybe they were like, oh no, people are too excited about Serial Cleaners. They won't. I don't know. This okay. I mean, it looks like a decent game. It does look like a decent game, but if it's mixed, that does bring up questions as to whether the game's any decent. So you manage a space station. Obviously, the people who live within it. You set up the rooms, and they walk around doing, well, meeple stuff. Personally, this does seem like a game I would like. However, I'm going to be very tempted to, very curious to know what the negatives are. Because, mixed can be two things. It can be people just being upset about the price, people upset about something the developer did, which is obviously important, or it can be game is broken. So let's see what the reviews actually say here for this mixed game. Got it for Humble Bundle of games. It's not awful, just not worth the $20. Works on Windows 7. Buggy, shallow, and abandoned. Shame this game is promised but needs a lot of work. Buggy, unplayable mess. Waste of time. Eventual bugs. Yeah, it sounds like, unfortunately, it's one of those games that was in early access or just like was going to be meant to be completed and then just wasn't. Well, that's kind of disappointing, actually. Like, more than a little disappointing. Looks like the last update was 1.0.7 in January 2022. So yes, it is well and truly abandoned by the developers. That's a bad ad, Humble. I definitely think we would have preferred Serial Cleaners. I know I shouldn't judge Humble Bundle by the quality of its leaks, but I gotta say, I was a lot more excited about this bundle of Humble games when it was leaked to us. And that's probably was the point, I suppose. But when people get a whole month to decide whether they want to buy the game, and I probably will, because I want Remnant, I want Ghostwire, I can find a home for Curse of the Dead Gods. But I am a little bit disappointed that this is not as good as it was going to be. I feel like it's not their fault if it leaks. I shouldn't judge them on that fact. But at the other hand, I'm just like, Oh, that's a pretty bad ad there with Meeple Station. It feels like it was a last minute ad. Thankfully, though, as usual, Humble is not the only games we're going to cover today. We'll go very quickly through the rest of them. Now, the first one, which does not actually match up with this. The first one is a Neo Geo game. The best place I could find to find a picture of that was the Nintendo page. It is ACA Neo Geo Sengoku 2. So another fighting game. Honestly, these are sort of dime a dozen on arcade games, on things like that. So I'm not really surprised. And this is not the only one we're getting. So we're getting that one first up. And by first up, I mean it's already on there because obviously we've already had the first Thursday. We have another Thursday upcoming tomorrow. The other game we can already get is this one, Mutation Nation, which is yet another fighting game. So, yay. Then tomorrow for me, June 8th, we also get Soccer Brawl, which also feels like a type of fighting game, but no, it's a sports game. Even though the game says brawl, it sort of gives me the vibes of that dodgeball game, but with a less interesting premise. Because quite frankly, hitting people was a lot more fun when I played that one. So yeah, the other one we're getting tomorrow is Over Top, a racing game. Really? Okay. Now, you might be thinking at this point, this is a lot of Neo Geo games, and you would be correct, because there's still more Neo Geo games coming out on June the 15th, with the Super Spy, which, I mean, it looks okay. It looks a little bit weird. It's like a first-person spy simulator. I don't think it's going to be very heavy on the storyline. It looks like it's just going to be about punching people or not punching people. So, I mean, okay. And then, of course, this one just said Top Hunter in the leak, or the leak, the thing. So I'm assuming it's this one, which is Top Hunter and Roddy and Kathy, which is just another beat 'em up style game. So okay, at least it's not a fighting game, I suppose. And you're like, that's not a fantastic selection from Amazon this month. And it's like, well, yeah, no, it's not. But thankfully, the second half of the month is going to be a lot of decent games. So the first one is SteamWorld Dig 2. Now, this one is very similar to SteamWorld Dig 1. It's very similar to those old Flash games where you dig around that you may have played when you were younger, before the unfortunate demise of Flash. Basically, you go deep underground, you dig up rocks, you find treasure, you upgrade your character, you keep going back down. Now, a lot of these do show off as having like an actual like area. There's still a lot of digging that is involved. There's just also some of these set puzzle areas. This is what the majority of the gameplay is like. I have played this game. I have enjoyed it because I actually quite like this sort of game. It basically just strokes all the right things in me for mining and progression and all sorts of things. It has earned its overwhelmingly positive reviews, and quite frankly, it's great. It's also I'm pretty sure this one's the one that's also filled with. I think this one's also the one that's filled with steam powered giraffe music as well, which is pretty great. Yeah. I'm pretty sure this is the one that's filled with steam powered giraffe music, and no, it's not. No, my mistake. The space one is the one that's filled with steam powered giraffe music. I wish they all were, to be honest. It's a fantastic band. Anyway, next one is Neverwinter Nights Enhanced Edition. This one will probably be on GOG, I'd imagine, or maybe just directly on Amazon. I don't know. But basically, Neverwinter Nights alongside Baldur's Gate is a classic CRPG, Dungeons and Dragons style. It's a pretty good game. I remember playing the original a long time ago. In fact, I even had a conversation with Power recently, and I was like, we were talking about spiders, and I remembered very vaguely Spider from Neverwinter Nights 2, which makes you a cloak if you befriend it. And it's just like, yes, that was a solid memory, a core memory unlocked and all that. So quite frankly, Neverwinter Nights, it's pretty good. I don't think it, in my opinion, I ever enjoyed it as much as Baldur's Gate, but they're all about the same place. really. So now this one is the first of the games released on June the 22nd. The second of which being Autonauts, which is apparently simulation program game. It's got elements of the settlers in it almost, where you're building up your city. I do own this one. I haven't played enough to give a massive amount of information from it because it wasn't. Oh wait, am I thinking the wrong game here? I think I'm thinking the wrong game here. Oh, I think this one. Oh yeah, I do know which one this is. I got mixed up with another one which is very similar. No, this is the one where you set out automation tasks for your robots and get them to create and it's still a city building game. It's still very similar to what I was explaining before, but basically you have to set up a series of robots to do the jobs for you. And as it says, you are automating it, you're autonauting it. So yeah, why not? Ooh, what was that? That said Hue free to claim. Is that actively happening right now? Because I don't remember posting about that on my thing, which means it might have been a sale just started. Hue free. Did I already? Yes, I did already post about this, but it's still here apparently. So okay, fair enough. Hue as well. All right, then we got Revita, a fast-paced twin-stick roguelike platformer. Once again, nothing wrong with this. Roguelikes are a little bit dime a dozen, but the good thing about roguelikes is they're all fairly good, and they all have a slightly different thing on it. If you like fishing games, well, looks like this one's one for you, which is fantastic. So yeah, Revita, that's a nice one. That's a good pickup. Then on June 29th, the last 3 games are going to be Roguebook, which is just another deck building roguelike. Ooh, apparently for an overworld, very nice. In fact, the overworld may change some things. I was looking at the gameplay and thinking it's a little like Slay the Spire, and it is like Slay the Spire, but that open world element seems like it could be quite interesting, that strategic overlay. This one's suddenly moving up my level of interest with that little addition there. So yeah, Roguelooks is actually quite a good pickup. But once again, it's odd that we have to wait till the end of the month to get all these. The next one is Once Upon a Jester, which is giving me serious vibes from things like it's the Bard one now. No, there's a bunch of story-based games like this. Wonder Song, that's it, Wonder Song. It's giving me Wonder Song vibes, along with, well, you know, a few of those other story-based games. I think generally I love these games, and I've never heard this one before, so I mean, I might already own it, but I realistically, this seems like a very good pickup for me personally. So, and finally for Humble, we have Gems of Destiny, Homeless Dwarf, which, I mean, really? I'm assuming this one will be on that weird website where it's like for the point-click adventures or whatever. But assuming it is in Humble, it's on the Amazon page itself. It's a match 3 where choices matter. If you ever click that tab, click the choices matter tab, people really sometimes misuse it. They'll put things on here like Crab Champions. Choices don't matter in Crab Champions. I'm sorry. Like the system the system of tags on Steam definitely could do with a cleaning up, is all I'm saying. But anyway, that's the last game on Humble Bundle, which leads us to the various bundles out there currently. The first one is the Must Play Metroidvanias. I did not buy this one, not because I didn't think it looked good, because I already owned most of it. So yes, they've actually done it so they're actually, yeah, you get all 99, so $22.89. You got 15 days left on it. Rain World's meant to be amazing. Hollow Knight's meant to be amazing. I have the rest of these here, so yeah, I wasn't gonna buy it. However, it's a decent game bundle if you like Metroidvanias. So yay. The main multiplayer madness was one I was a little bit more impressed at. Northgard is a fantastic Settlers style game. Borderlands 3 is obviously good, especially when it's the Super Deluxe Edition. I haven't played Destiny 2. I didn't buy this still because once again I own most of the games, but you know, for $17, make sure you lower that price. $17, that's a decent pickup, really. Now, this one's only got a day left, so if you want to jump on this one, you'll need to jump on it on the day of release of this video. The final one in Humble is the Luck of the Draw Roguelikes Game Bundle, and this is one I did buy, because despite the fact I have so many roguelikes already, a bunch of these I didn't own, crazily enough. Like, I didn't own Fights and Type Spaces, Beneath Aresa, Alina, etc. So, that's another one I picked up. Once again, make sure you lower the price, unless you're really just doing it for charity, which is fair enough. But if you're just here for games, which, you know, games are good. Yeah, if you could also adjust the donation, remember, like, that is still a thing. The only person who takes anything when you adjust it to max is Humble. So this is a good way of buying games if you don't like. If you really don't like 2K, you do not wish Borderlands to get any money from your donation. Like, you do not wish 2K to get anything. You just put it all to charities, and it will just go to Humble and charities. So that's pretty good. But yeah, so I mean, realistically, most of these bundles are good, even if I didn't want their stuff. So fair enough. Let's go have a look at Fanatical now. So as usual, they're highlighting Prestige Collection as one of their more expensive bundles. I did buy this. However, one thing you might notice here is it's got Grime in it. So if you bought Grime in this bundle, I am sorry, because it now came out in Humble. But there are other great things to buy here as well, including Kiwi, Iron Harvest. I bought Witchwood, which was quite cool. I actually wanted to buy Apico, but I don't remember if I did. I don't think I did. But yeah, this is usually their headlines, so they'll be more expensive. Make sure you check the value first to see how much you're actually saving. But it's a fairly decent bundle, this one. Then they've got their month-long Platinum Collection. Now, I haven't actually bought it yet, but you can see what my choices are currently. A lot of the other games I either own or are horror games, so I probably won't be buying those. But realistically, it's an okay bundle selection. It's not their best Platinum Collection, but it goes okay. Next one is the Killer Bundle. Now, I usually love the Killer Bundle in that it's quite cheap for how many games it gives. However, this is one time I actually own most of them already. So, another instance of Rain World. We got Heroes Hour, which was that Might and Magic 3 style game we played on the channel a couple of weeks ago, which honestly, as we're finding out, I'd rather just play Might and Magic 3, but still. Dead Island. Para loves Dead Island. Whenever I get Dead Island 2 on my thing, because I already played 1, I have to play through a little bit of that. The Ascent is fairly okay, from what I can tell. I'm not a big fan of the Oddworld games. I'm really bad at them, but they're there too. Dishonored is obviously fantastic. Once again, if you don't own it. I played the Trolley Problem. I found it lacking in the amount of actual choice and actual consequence. It felt like I was being railroaded into everything in this game. Wasn't a massive fan there. Game of Life 1 is odd, because there's Game of Life 2 already, which has been given out in bundles, I think. So it's like, eh. But yeah, it's a decent enough TM bundle, especially for the price. But make sure you check to see if you actually own all this stuff first. Then we have the Play on Deck, the Play on Go bundle. Now, these are all deck-capable games, but they will obviously work on regular Steam as well. Decent selection of games, if a little bit already owned by me. Obviously, Wolfenstein The Old Blood is that little standalone Wolfenstein expansion pack. So if you've played Wolfenstein, the remake, but haven't played this standalone one, there it is. Doom is obviously pretty great. I can imagine it being fantastic on the deck. Wolfenstein New Order is also there, so that's fantastic. If you don't, okay, cool. Yeah, there's a bunch of different things here, which I think are okay. My biggest one I'd like to spotlight here is Fury Unleashed. That was one of the games I found on my bundle. There's a video of it, and I really, really quite liked it. Still play it from time to time today. It's a decent platforming roguelike. Certainly worth your time. Then we've got the Dystopian Dreams bundle. I did buy this, but I bought some very off games, because realistically, the collection of games here isn't great. There's a couple which I would consider very good, like Sense was a game backed on Kickstarter. I played it a little bit on my channel. I liked it, but it was scary, so I didn't play more of it. But I definitely appreciate what it's trying to do. I think Cosmic Star Heroine is also pretty good. But yeah, I bought a bunch of the other stuff just because I didn't already own it. So, so yeah, you probably make the 3 pretty easily. Probably make the 3 bundle pretty easily. I found myself just being able to make the 5, I believe. But yeah, bunch of Cyberpunk games, why not? And the final bundle on Fanatical at the time of release of this video is the Build Your Own Breakout bundle. Now, there's a few different things here which is interesting to me. So I did end up buying this bundle, I believe. I mean, I definitely did. So they're a little bit odd. Like this one here, for example, Salamander County Public Television is specifically very, very odd. Ashina is like, it's a story-based game that's like the prologue of a horror game. And anyway, there's a bunch of really interesting stuff in this bundle. Nothing that's really like headlining, in my opinion. But for a bundle that's like new stuff you haven't seen before, it's not too bad. And that's what the breakout bundle's meant to be. It's games that have never been in a bundle before. So fair enough. Good for them for giving it a go. But that's our June. So obviously there'll still be more bundles coming out on Humble and Fanatical over the next month in general. But as for our games, including the the various subscription models that we may travel through, this month is kind of a disappointment. It shouldn't be because of Remnant and Ghostwire, but I'm still a little bit disappointed we missed out on Serial Cleaners. I know we can't judge them on a leak, but Meeple Station really seems like a last-minute addition since it was like mixed. Overall, though, and let me just move this back so it's centered. There we go. Overall, though, I mean, it's another month. It's not a bad month. Definitely not. In fact, there are some really cool titles here, which is really expensive, and it will really be worth your money. But yeah, between Prime going through and doing like multiple weeks of nothing but Neo Geo games, and then a couple of bundles which like they're mostly good, but there's also a bit of questionable stuff in there. It's okay. June's okay. It's halfway through the year already though, so oof. Anyway, thank you for joining me. This has been my eruption of shame. We didn't actually end up bothering viewing any trailers this week, so that shows you how little I was like really invested in the whole situation. But I hope you join me again next time for another eruption of shame. Thank you, and have a lovely rest of your month. I said it like I'm not going to be here. I'm going to be here. There's more videos coming out in general, obviously. So realistically, when it comes to my upload schedule, I've already uploaded for a fair amount of time. My next Eruption of Shame happens just before my next anniversary on the 8th, so that's there. During the next couple of weeks, we obviously have more Heroes 3. We have another Heroes 3 episode coming out, and actually 2, where I finally find a horrible Heroes of Might and Magic 3 modding experience and a really, really good Heroes of Might and Magic 3 modding experience. We also have a bunch more episodes of Star Sector. That's obviously still ongoing. RFL, still ongoing. But other than that, just a bunch of Mountain of Shame because I was just filling it up with Mountains of Shame. So yes, we're getting closer and closer to July, which is the my anniversary section where I will either do a live stream or I will record. Probably record, to be honest, because I feel like I want to do a little bit. I feel like a recording might be a little bit easier to deal with, but where I will, in some way, tier list the games I played this year. So, yay for that, I suppose. Anyway, thank you for joining me in general. I'll see you next time. This has been my Eruption of Shame. I hope your libraries are getting very large. Remember to check out the community posts where I keep posting free games. Goodbye!